A guest brought in a painting that held deep sentimental value for her family.
The painting had been purchased by my grandparents, my father's father. We believe they purchased it at a auction or fundraiser for Lafayette College, which is also in Easton, Pennsylvania.
The artist was identified as Fern Coppage, a renowned Pennsylvania impressionist. The appraiser confirmed the painting's authenticity, identifying it as a quintessential example of Coppage's work, titled December Mist.
So she came to Pennsylvania in 1920 to live and work in Bucks County and in Philadelphia. Before that, she studied at the Art Institute of Chicago and at the Art Students League with William Merritt Chase in New York, and then at the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts with Daniel Garber.
The painting likely depicted scenes from the Lehigh Valley or Delaware Gap areas. Executed in oil on canvas and believed to be in its original frame, the work was thought to date from the early 1920s. The appraiser shared details about Coppage's artistic background. She was known for painting outdoors, often in harsh winter conditions, sometimes even wearing a bearskin coat while she worked. The appraiser emphasized the painting's artistic and historical significance and noted that Coppage's market had remained strong in recent years.
And there's a lot of dirt that has settled into the paint, but even through that dirt we can see the amount of attention she paid to color. When we look at the snow especially, she saw so many different colors within the snow that would change with the time of day. She took one step towards fauvism, expressing the emotions, colors, expressing the impressions as well.
Given its provenance, condition, and artistic merit, the suggested insurance value was,
I would insure this for no less than $120,000.
Oh, really? Wow. Wow. Okay. That's worth insuring.
a guest brought in a remarkable collection of vintage baseball cards that had been passed down through his family.
Well, my grandfather was born in 1900, had two brothers. I don't know when they got into the cards. I'm not sure what years they are. I assume they're somewhere in 1910, 11, or 12.
The appraiser identified the cards as T3 Turkey Red tobacco cards, produced in 1910 to 1911 by the Turkey Red brand under the American Tobacco Company.
The Civil War is when really the tobacco industry started in North Carolina, with both northern and southern soldiers wanting tobacco.
Unlike typical small tobacco cards, these large format cards measured nearly 6 by 8 inches.
And that's why we showed this card right here of an actress, because that's the typical size of a tobacco card, not these. This set is considered to be the biggest, the boldest, the best, the most beautiful cigarette card set.
The guest owned 77 of these cards, a substantial portion of the original 100-card set. The appraiser emphasized the collection's significance, particularly given the number of Hall of Fame players represented. He also provided a brief historical context of tobacco and card production during that era.
Out of that, tobacco factories started springing up. Enter a very famous local name that might be familiar to you, James Duke. James Duke furthered his father's tobacco business. In the 1880s, he actually licensed a cigarette rolling machine. And within just a decade, he had built a monopoly to rival Standard Oil.
Among the cards, the appraiser highlighted 6 Hall of Famers and assessed their conditions.
We have Cy Young, leader, all-time in pitching, 511 wins. We have Sam Crawford, great outfielder on Detroit. We have Tris Speaker, Boston Americans, who are also known as the Boston Red Sox, won world championships with them in 1912 and 1915. We have Nap Lajoie, one of the greatest second basemen of all time, and the Cleveland team actually named themselves the Naps after him. Christy Mathewson, 373 wins, third most ever. And then, of course, the great Ty Cobb of Detroit.
The most prized piece in the collection was the Thank You Cop card, which was widely regarded as the most desirable in the set. Given its rarity, the estimated auction value for the collection was,
I'd place an auction estimate of $75,000 to $100,000.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome.
a bound scrapbook was displayed by the guest, who had inherited it from his father.
I brought you a series of letters that were signed by abolitionists. They were invited to the 100-year anniversary of the Free Will Baptist Church, and the letters in the back are those that could not attend the ceremony in Weirs, New Hampshire.
The appraiser immediately recognized the historical and cultural value of the book.
The title of this book is The Centennial Record of Free Will Baptists, 1780 to 1880. It was published in 1881, and it's a record of the convention or the celebration that the Free Will Baptist Church held in 1880 to celebrate 100 years.
It had originally belonged to William Foss, who was believed to have attended or helped organize the centennial celebration. Foss had carefully preserved various memorabilia from the event, including photographs, such as one of the original 1819 Free Will Baptist Church buildings.
The Free Will Baptists are a denomination within the Baptist Church. It was an important abolitionist organization. Not only did they agitate to end slavery in America, they also provided important assistance to enslaved people after they escaped from the South and moved upwards through New England.
Moreover, Foss had maintained a series of letters written by key abolitionist figures who had been invited but were unable to attend the ceremony. Among the letters was a 2-page handwritten message from Frederick Douglass, one of the most revered voices of the abolitionist movement. Another standout letter came from Harriet Beecher Stowe, the famed author of Uncle Tom's Cabin. Additionally, a letter from James A. Garfield, the future U.S. president, was also included. The appraiser emphasized the extraordinary historical significance of the scrapbook, particularly due to the Frederick Douglass letter. Altogether, the book was expected to fetch
The entire book, I would say, $55,000 to $75,000. If you wanted to insure it, you should put it at a minimum of $110,000.
Deep breath.
Deep breath.
An exceptional piece of art was brought in by the guest, who had purchased it for just $15.99.
At work, I was at Goodwill first thing in the morning, and I kind of saw it in the painting section. I noticed there was a little plaque here, which is like what you would see in a museum. So I thought it looked like a real painting, and I picked it up and put it in my cart.
The appraiser quickly identified the painting as an original work by Le Faux, a Vietnamese-born artist educated at the École des Beaux-Arts in both Hanoi and Paris. The appraiser discussed Le Faux's career in 3 distinct stylistic periods.
His early work is very nostalgic, very lush landscapes. His Paris period, he starts to do family subjects.
Okay.
And this dates from what's called his Findlay period.
Oh, okay.
Probably made in the 1960s.
The painting exhibited all the hallmarks of Le Faux's highly sought-after later style, including impressionistic brushwork, vibrant color, and refined composition. The appraiser also noted that the frame appeared to be original and consistent with Findlay Gallery's presentations of Le Faux's work, further supporting the painting's authenticity. Titled Cueillette des Pommes Cannelle, the painting was signed by the artist in the lower right. It was executed in oil on board and measured within the standard size range typical of Le Faux's more collectible works. Considering the painting's size, period, condition, and market demand, the estimated auction value was
Works of this scale generally sell in the 60 to 80,000 range at auction.
Wow. Did you hear that? That's a lot. Wow.
A guest presented 2 jade plaques and a jade seal that had belonged to her great-great-grandmother, who passed away in 1929 in California.
I have been told they are 18th century from China. According to my mother, she may have purchased them in San Francisco, where she lived.
The jade plaques, or tablets, were identified as being made of mottled green jade and were incised with official script. They were interpreted as commemorative jade book pages, possibly part of a 12-page set which might have honored an ancestor. The jade seal was equally striking, featuring a square base, a double dragon motif on the top, and 2 columns of script on the underside.
The seal's a symbol of imperial authority. Most imperial seals that are done in this square form are surmounted with this double dragon. It's a very common motif on imperial seals or court seals.
However, the appraiser noted several signs suggesting it was not from the 18th century. These included weaknesses in the carving, particularly in the depiction of celestial cloud motifs, as well as misalignments in the lines of the seal impression. Overall, the seal displayed less refined craftsmanship compared to earlier imperial examples. Despite these flaws, the seal's rarity and imperial connections made it highly valuable. Given all factors, the conservative auction value estimated for the plaques and the seal was...
Together as a associated pair, they would carry an auction estimate of 20 to 30,000.
Okay. Wow.
This remarkable painting was inherited by the guest and her husband from her father-in-law.
My father-in-law received it as a graduation gift from his grandmother in 1959 when he graduated from UNC. His grandmother, or my husband's great-grandmother, vacationed where the original artist lived, and apparently she saw it in his home and purchased it from him.
It was a work by Joseph Henry Sharp, a key figure in American Western art and one of the founders of the Tau Society of Artists.
He was born in 1859 in Ohio and moved to the Cincinnati area as a teenager. Ended up passing away in Pasadena, California in 1953.
Joseph Henry Sharp was known for his deeply respectful and detailed portraits of Native American figures. The painting in question depicted Chief Little Wolf of the Northern Cheyenne, a renowned warrior and tactician who notably fought against General Custer. On the reverse of the canvas, there was an inscription indicating the subject and context. The appraiser explained that this could have been one of Sharp's earlier portraits of Little Wolf, painted around 1898. Adding to the story's depth was a personal handwritten note from the artist, which had been kept with the painting.
Whenever my father-in-law's grandmother was purchasing it for him, she had become friends with the artist, and she bought this from his home. So apparently he wrote a goodbye note to this piece of art that hung in his home, so you can tell it was probably very dear to him.
Considering the painting's excellent condition, rich coloration, direct provenance, its auction value at the time would have been...
I would say the auction estimate for a piece like this would probably be $50,000 to $70,000.
Okay.
And if it were to be in a retail environment, it would be priced at about $85,000.
Wow. That was more than I thought. Wow.
A guest brought in a remarkable collection of football memorabilia connected to his father. Smokey Stover, a former player who had a notable career in the American Football League during the 1960s.
He went to Northeast Louisiana University. He was a fullback there and excelled. When he left, he wanted to continue playing football and walked on for the Dallas Texans.
The items included 2 championship rings, a game-worn Super Bowl jersey, and a photograph of Stover in action. This trove of historical sports artifacts not only held deep sentimental value, but also proved to be of major financial and historical significance. The appraiser discussed the broader historical context of the American Football League AFL and National Football League NFL rivalry and eventual merger.
The AFL was founded in 1960, and they were an upstart. And at the first, the NFL didn't think too much of it because they had already had challenges from other rival leagues. But what made the AFL different is that they started going after players that would have normally gone to the NFL.
NFL, yes, they
like
did.
your father.
Yes.
So now you fast forward to 1966, they decided they were going to sign a merger. They had battled each other too long, and they were putting each other out of business.
The rings were not only rare, but also represented significant milestones in the evolution of professional American football. The appraiser noted that the game-worn Super Bowl jersey still bore visible bloodstains and came with the original undershirt worn beneath it. Given the strong provenance, rarity, and condition of the items, the estimated insurance value for the entire collection was...
Insurance estimate, and having this underneath, $40,000.
$40,000, that is wonderful.
The guest brought a highly significant Panerai Italian military wristwatch that had once belonged to his father, who had served as a military interpreter during World War II.
My dad either bought the watch off of a prisoner or traded something or another. I'm not exactly sure.
The appraiser quickly recognized the watch as a Panerai Radiomir, reference 3646, produced between 1940 and 1945, and described it as one of the most important and iconic military timepieces of the era.
The radiomir part refers to the radium on the dial, which was perfected by Panerai. The radiomer part referring to the radium is just that. Radioactive, dangerous, and poisonous radium used on the dials so that they glow in the dark.
Wow.
This particular model had been designed specifically for the Italian Navy's elite frogman units, and only about 1,000 to 2,000 were ever made. Its large size and distinctive glowing dial were functional, enabling divers to read the time through their wetsuits and goggles during missions. What made the watch especially remarkable was its collaboration between Panerai and Rolex. The appraiser also noted some signs of aging, such as a yellowed crystal, originally clear plastic that had discolored over time, and a slightly buckling celluloid dial, which was still repairable. Despite these minor imperfections, the watch remained an extraordinarily rare and valuable piece. A watch like this in its condition at the time would have retailed for...
So now, in terms of a value, any idea?
$7,000.
In today's market, retail, this watch will bring $50,000 to $60,000.
Holy moly. That's a lot more than 7.
A more mint condition dial, these have brought up to $100,000 in recent years.
A guest brought in a unique and enchanting collection of 5 musical pocket watch fobs, miniature mechanical wonders.
I started collecting regular watch fobs, and when I was on travel for work, a young lady in the UK showed me this one, and as soon as I saw it, I was hooked. So this has taken me about 10 or 12 years to collect.
These objects were traditionally worn by gentlemen at the end of a pocket watch chain, often serving as seals or ornamental fobs.
What did you pay for them?
This one was about $900 to $950. This was under $2,000, more like $1,900. This one was just at $2,000. This one was around $2,100. And this one was a little bit more expensive because it has the original Moroccan leather case, and it was just a touch over $4,000.
All 5 dated from the early to mid-1800 and represented a rare and increasingly difficult category of collectible horological objects.
They're a great collection of watch fobs, and they're musical, and they play a beautiful little tune.
Would you like to hear one?
Yes, we would love to hear one.
So you just turn the stem on the top.
That extra added element of the playing the music is just amazing.
One of the fobs was identified as being made of 9-carat rolled gold, which the appraiser explained was gold-filled rather than solid. The remaining were crafted from 18-carat gold, with one distinguished as the oldest and most complex piece in the group. One particular fob was made from tricolor gold, requiring layered applications of different gold tones and the integration of intricate mechanical elements. It was praised for its exceptional craftsmanship and the difficulty involved in its manufacture. The appraiser was visibly impressed with the collection, especially highlighting the rarity and desirability of musical fobs among collectors. Given the collection's uniqueness, fine workmanship, the estimated auction value was...
So as a group, the estimate would be $28,000 to $38,000.
Wow. Okay. Thank you very much.
A guest brought in a seemingly ordinary bracelet, an item she had cherished since childhood.
It's a bracelet that I have played with ever since I was 6 years old. It was my mom's. She gave it to me to play dress up with all these years, and I kept it. And I just thought it was really a cool looking bracelet.
The piece was identified as a rare modernist cuff bracelet called the Modernet, created by Art Smith, a highly influential figure in mid-20th century modernist jewelry design.
Art Smith was born in Cuba. He's an Afro-Cuban American who moved from Cuba to Brooklyn, New York, and he eventually ended up in Greenwich Village.
He was renowned for his sculptural and bold pieces, receiving commissions from prominent cultural figures such as Eleanor Roosevelt and Duke Ellington, and having his work featured in Vogue and Harper's Bazaar. The guest was stunned to learn that her bracelet was not just a stylish, vintage piece, but a museum-quality artwork. It was signed Art Smith on the underside, though the signature had gone unnoticed due to age-related discoloration. The bracelet was particularly rare because it was made in copper and brass, while most known Modernet examples had been crafted in silver. This rarity, combined with its striking design, elevated its importance in both the collector and design markets. Considering the growing interest in Art Smith's work, the current auction estimate was,
if I were to put an auction estimate on it now, I would be very comfortable with $15,000 to $25,000.
Oh my goodness. Okay. My mom's going to be so excited, and so am I, but she's going to be amazed.